It's very important for me to be a sponsor. The reason being is because our law firm stands for equal justice, equal opportunity for everyone. And so to have a great honor like being a sponsor of an incredible event like this really is in tune with the approach that we take to our employees and our clients. We believe in equality, we believe in equal access to the law, we believe in justice. I've been in Atlanta now for over 40 years, and I've seen a lot of change, and I've seen a lot of progress. I've seen progress in people's attitudes towards each other, to people of different races, to people of different orientations. It's important to remember that we can all be united.
Bank of America supports the LGBTQ community and is committed to making the world a more inclusive and accepting place. We celebrate and stand with you today, knowing the power of diversity can only strengthen and build a stronger community. We're committed to foster a culture of inclusion for the communities in which we live and work. In addition, we have a long-standing history of commitment to workplace inclusion. For example, our comprehensive domestic partner benefits. The diversity of our people makes Bank of America what it is today.
Welcome back to Atlanta Pride 50. We march on. Our special look at Atlanta's Pride celebration.
Much of the past 50 years has been a hard-fought battle for rights that many others take for granted. Earlier this year, Georgia became the 47th state to enact hate crime legislation. Well, that law ensures that crimes motivated by a victim's race, religion, or sexual orientation carry additional penalties. What it doesn't do is protect those same victims from discrimination. Well, one local lawmaker is hoping to change that, one city at a time.
People have had to die before the state stepped up and taken notice.
Not just Georgia, but the nation noticed when Steffi Kuntz broke barriers to become the state's only transgender elected official.
The community in Doraville was open enough to vote to elect the first transgender elected official in the state. The fact that that happened in the South really sends a signal that things are changing. People's minds are opening up.
Kuntz won a seat on the Doraville City Council in 2017 and is now mayor pro tem.
That told me that the people that live here don't discriminate. Everyone told me you're unelectable. There's no way that a transgender person can get elected in the state of Georgia.
Now Kuntz wants to see even more change in the state with the passage of anti-discrimination laws. Though Georgia already has a hate crimes bill, which passed this year, Kuntz wants to see broader legislation that prevents discrimination. Georgia is just one of 3 states that still doesn't have an anti-discrimination law on the books.
Right. The violent crimes they're kind of the end result of the whole systemic discrimination, that it starts off with language or denying someone the ability to rent an apartment or to be served in a restaurant.
It's that kind of discrimination that motivated Kuntz to develop Doraville's anti-discrimination ordinance in 2018.
A landscaper discriminated against a gay couple who wanted some landscaping done. And when the landscaper found out that this couple was a gay couple, he refused to work for him, and when the gay couple went on Yelp complaining about this guy, the landscaper said, yeah, I don't serve sodomites.
Kuntz didn't want that to happen to anyone else in Doraville or any other metro city, so she used the language from her city's ordinance as a template for legislation in Smyrna, Brookhaven, and other cities.
Knowing that I had been instrumental in shepherding this non-discrimination wave through Metro Atlanta made me realize that my life does have meaning, and I was put here for a reason. It's actually been a really powerful thing, and I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about this.
Being counted is a big deal this year, a census year. The Atlanta Pride Committee, Georgia Equality, and many other local organizations are joining together to help make sure people participate in the census. The federal census helps reallocate community dollars to programs that help marginalized groups, including those who identify as LGBTQ. They also are making sure people get to the polls, whether they're voting absentee, early voting, or waiting until November 3rd to cast their ballot. And of course, we're already in the thick of election season, with early voting starting here in Georgia tomorrow. Did you know there is a record number of LGBTQ candidates on the ballots nationwide this year? Among them, Kim Jackson, who could become Georgia's first LGBTQ state senator if she wins the election next month. The late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a tiny woman with a giant impact on the course of the LGBTQ history. Just 3 years after taking the bench, in 1996, she ruled on a case in which voters in Colorado had passed a state constitutional amendment that stopped government agencies from protecting LGBTQ people in matters including housing, education, employment, and health care.
In 2003, RGB joined the majority in another case that found the criminalization of homosexuality as unconstitutional. In 2015, she joined the rulings legalizing same-sex marriage.
One of Justice Ginsburg's final cases came this summer, a landmark ruling from the Supreme Court extending federal protections to LGBTQ workers.
Now, under the Civil Rights Act, no one can be fired because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. CBS 46 anchor Rick Folbaum spoke to the local man who's behind that case.
You know, certainly it's unfortunate that we can't be gathering tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of folks in the park.
Jeff Graham of Georgia Equality on Pride in the age of COVID. Different, but attainable.
Pride is a state of mind as much or more than it is a physical event.
And few Georgians know that better than Gerald Bostock.
We'll hear argument first this morning in case 17-16-18.
Plaintiff in the landmark Supreme Court case Bostock v. Clayton County.
I did not ask to be part of this fight, but it has been an honor of a lifetime for me to stand up against LGBTQ workplace discrimination.
Back in 2013, Bostock had spent 10 years working for the Clayton County court system when he joined a gay softball league and promoted it at work. Soon after, the county fired Bostock for conduct unbecoming a county employee. But Bostock felt he was fired for being gay, so he sued. This past June, 7 years later, the U.S. Supreme Court sided with Bostock, ruling that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 covers employees against discrimination because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. The decision sent the case back to the district court, and a ruling has not yet been announced. But Bostock's victory in the Supreme Court is hailed as one of the most important legal decisions for LGBTQ rights. One group that helped Bostock cross the finish line, Georgia Equality.
I'm very thankful for their advocacy on behalf of the LGBTQ community and couldn't have made it through this fight without them.
Georgia Equality's mission is to advance fairness, safety, and opportunity for the LGBTQ community throughout the state.
There's a lot that we need to do, and I focus a lot on the work ahead of us.
And so much work, including efforts to get a statewide law passed that protects all Georgians from workplace discrimination.
47 other states have state laws that protect their residents against discrimination.
Another goal, legislation banning so-called conversion therapy, which purports to help gays and lesbians transform themselves into heterosexuals.
This is a discredited mental health practice that works to force people to be straight or force people to be cisgender. We know that these practices cause immense harm.
Bostock's advice to younger members of the LGBTQ community who may be struggling:
hang in there, that you're not alone, and to find your allies. Find those people who will lift you up and support you. They're everywhere.
They're certainly at Georgia Equality, where the team will be marking Pride differently this year, but no less enthusiastically.
The Atlanta Pride Committee has done just an amazing job of putting together online virtual programming for folks to still be able to gather together this weekend for Pride. But I think it's the spirit of Pride that people need to recognize.
Some Fortune 500 companies took action before the courts stepped in. At the turn of the millennium, companies like General Motors, Ford, IBM, Boeing, and Atlanta-based Coca-Cola extended health care and other employee benefits to gay partners, and that was 15 years before gay marriage was legalized nationally. It was a step in the right direction for equality and acceptance of LGBTQ workers, as you can see in this story from the summer of 2000.
For couples like Angela and Christine Todd, sharing healthcare benefits is only fair. Angela works for a company that picks up Christine's health benefits.
If they're going to be in a relationship and do everything together, I mean, why shouldn't they have the same benefits as a married couple would have?
Actually, as we've been thinking about having children, and I think that there's some kind of clause that just because, you know, we can't have children together, that the insurance may cover it.
Factors Coca-Cola took into consideration when the soft drink giant announced plans to offer health care benefits for its same-sex domestic partners' employees. Coca-Cola employees will be eligible for the benefits beginning next January.
Our goal is to ensure that the company is the best place to work for all employees. Today's announcement, or yesterday's announcement, is one step toward achieving that goal.
Coca-Cola is the 99th Fortune 500 company to offer such benefits. While gay and lesbians are applauding the move, Cindy Jordan says it's a long time coming.
It's not special. We should have had, you know, the gay community should have had this the whole time, you know? So I'm glad that they're doing it. I'm glad that there's news coverage around it, but they should have done it, and they should have done it a while ago.
He was the conscience of Congress and the country, remembering John Lewis's dedication to the queer community.
Remember this proposal we captured on live television last year? These lovebirds are finding a way to celebrate the festival this year.
And I am telling you, pride, I love you. You're the best people I could ever know. And I thank you with all my soul. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. LGBTQ pride.
Bank of America supports the LGBTQ community and is committed to making the world a more inclusive and accepting place. We celebrate and stand with you today, knowing the power of diversity can only strengthen and build a stronger community. We're committed to foster a culture of inclusion for the communities in which we live and work. In addition, we have a long-standing history of commitment to workplace inclusion. For example, our comprehensive domestic partner benefits. The diversity of our people makes Bank of America what it is.